Hi, I'm Will Hesketh and this is Functional Yoga. As always, make some space to practice, make some time to practice, which means removing distractions so that you can be present with the practice. Be as playful as you can, so don't take it seriously. Be as grateful as you can. Try and remember that you're incredible, you're amazing, you're alive, you're breathing. Be grateful for that. It's an incredible thing. And finally, be compassionate towards yourself. So don't try too hard, don't push yourself too much. But at the same time, don't be lazy. Being compassionate towards yourself is finding a balance between trying too hard and just not giving yourself enough credit to even try. Okay, and then just remember, you're amazing. So this week's focus is the hips, and as always, it's not just the hips, it's everything we're going to be working, but we're going to be bringing special attention to the hips, and a lot of the exercises will be tailored towards moving the hip and moving the leg which attaches to the hip. And if you think about the pelvis as being your central unit, the hips are on the outside of the pelvis where the legs attach into it. Let's keep it that simple. So you've got legs going up into your hips, and then when I'm talking about pelvis, I'm talking about the thing that your hips are on the outsides of. Okay, let's get going. We're going to start on our backs. So whenever you're ready, bring yourself down onto your back, feet hip width apart, knees hip width apart. Always worth double checking that with your eyes rather than just going off what you feel is that, because it might not be exactly the same. Okay, have a little shuffle around, get nice and comfortable. And as usual, let's just start by checking in with the breath. And just noticing how the body moves as you breathe. Nice, gentle, calm breaths. Noticing any movement around the belly, noticing any movement around the chest. Just bringing yourself down to a mellow, calm state. Noticing when the mind wanders and you start thinking about things. And just sort of putting a little reminder there that you've just started doing. There's no need to do, we're just being at the moment, so there's no need to analyze things, there's no need to judge things. We don't need to be going back to previous moments, be it the one you've just had or ones from months or years ago. We don't need to be projecting forwards into new moments and thinking about new things. All of those things are great and helpful and help us grow and develop, but at this moment, we're just concentrating on this moment. So each breath representing a new moment. And as you tune in, you might get to the point where you're noticing multiple moments within each breath, and that's great. Starting to get more detail into these moments. But then you might even find that you manage to pay attention to half a breath or something like that, and then all of a sudden the mind's off again. And that's great too, because you've managed to do it. It's got to start somewhere, this attention training, so just being with it, experiencing it, and remember, playful, grateful, compassionate. Appreciate how amazing you are. Appreciate that ability to observe yourself, observing yourself. So it's that extra layer of awareness that humans have. Just in your own time, seeing if you could keep this awareness as best you can And just inhale, very gently allow the lower back to arch. So we're tilting the pelvis forwards, letting that lower back arch up off the floor. And then as you exhale, we're gently tucking that lower back down towards the floor. So inhale, gently arch that lower back. And exhale, gently tuck that lower back towards the floor. Feeling your way through that glide. So you'll feel the weight roll down and up on the back of the pelvis. So as you inhale and arch, the weight moves down on the back of the pelvis. And as you exhale and tuck, the weight moves up on the back of the pelvis. As you inhale and arch, you'll probably feel that that weight moves down towards the actual hips. And as you exhale and tuck, the weight moves up towards the base of the spine. This time, when you get to that tuck point, keep the tuck. And see if you could just start to peel your bum a little tiny way off the floor. So peeling the pelvis a little way off the floor, then maybe the lower back, maybe the mid back. Just seeing how far you can lift with a good, solid, comfortable feeling. Big inhale and then exhale, slowly lowering down top to bottom through the vertebra, feeling them press down into the mat as you go. So inhale, gently arch, reset. Exhale, tuck, keep your tuck, peel your way up with the inhale. And then exhale, lower your way down slowly and gently, feeling your way back down through the spine. Inhale, gently arch. Exhale, gently tuck, peeling your way up with the inhale, lowering your way down gradually with the exhale. One more, inhale, gently arch, exhale, gently tuck, peeling your way up with the inhale, and lowering your way back down with the exhale. When you get to the bottom, relax, walk those feet to the width of the mat, give your toes a wiggle, and then just very gently let the knees go a little way to the right as you exhale. Inhale, bring them back to the center, let them go a little way to the left as you exhale. Inhale, bring them back to the center. Feel your way through that gentle movement. So we're rotating the lower back, possibly even mid back, maybe even upper back, but just feeling that pelvis is changing side to side, but also because the feet are wide, you're getting rotation at the hip joint as well. So we're feeling for these thigh bones internally rotating as we take the legs over. So it's the top leg internally rotating. And you'll get a little bit of external rotation on the bottom leg, but it's not the major focus. And then whenever you're feeling even on both sides, bring it back to the center. Take your time, bring one knee into your chest and hold it there. Bring the other knee into join as well. Hold both knees there. Have a little rock side to side. Have a little rock front to back. Make sure it feels really nice and comfortable. Don't force anything. Just enjoy that feeling. Make sure it feels enjoyable. If it doesn't, just relax. Maybe rest the feet on something or rest the feet on the floor if it feels a bit much to hug them in. Or if it feels a bit much to rock, just stay still with the knees hugged in. See how it feels just to part the knees and then take them away from your chest and bring them together again. And then bring them towards your chest and turn them apart again. So you're just gently moving those knees round in opposite circles. Very slowly, very gently, using the hands to move the legs. Feeling your way into that movement. Whenever you're ready, we're going to change direction with the circle, so slowly and gradually, opposite way around. Feel your way through that. Enjoy the feeling, so take it steady, make sure it feels enjoyable. Notice the mind as it wanders off, bring it back, keeping that awareness with the breath, with the sensations, with the being. So there is an element of doing, obviously, with the movement, but there's no doing necessary in the mind, really. We don't need to think about things too much, just feeling through. Whenever you're ready, bringing the knees back to the center. Just have a gentle bend and straighten of the legs. So just very gently allowing the hamstrings to lengthen out. Just nice, mellow movement of the legs. Give the toes a bit of a wiggle. Give the feet a bit of a flex and point. Just feeling your way through. Whenever you're ready, just hugging those knees into the chest one more time. And then let's start with the left leg here. So keep the right knee pulled into your chest. Let the left heel come down to the floor. And don't worry if you're not very good with your left or right and you end up doing the wrong one, it doesn't matter. Just very gently and slowly extend the leg that's on the floor. Try and keep the heel on the floor as you do it so it's really nice and mellow. And then allow that leg to hang out to the side. Now, see if you could turn it back so that the knee is facing straight up towards the ceiling. The top of the thigh bone, or sorry, the front of the thigh bone is straight up towards the ceiling. So you've got that control of the leg. Then you pull the right knee into the chest, or the bent knee into the chest. You pull it in, and that will tilt your pelvis backwards. You're kind of like levering your pelvis backwards, and as you lever your pelvis backwards, this right leg will probably want to come off the floor. Maybe the back of the thigh wants to come off, maybe the leg wants to relax out to the sides. Try and keep it in the center and just feel your way through a very gentle lengthening of the front of that hip there. Just feel your way through. And then relax. Back that knee off, and then let the leg hang out to the side, rotate it out, and then rotate it as far inwards as you can. So think about turning your knee into the center line of your body, and then turn the knee out to the side. So thigh bone rotates inwards as far as you can without forcing, and then rotates outwards without forcing. Nice and mellow. You might want to bend the knee a little bit to make it a bit easier. Or you keep the legs straight and just see how it feels. Whenever you're ready, rest the right heel down and the left knee comes in. Gently and slowly push that right leg out, and then gently and slowly just pulse that left knee inwards, trying to keep that knee and thigh bone of the straight leg facing straight up towards the ceiling or the sky. Just feeling your way through there, letting the front of that right hip lengthen out. So we're not stretching as such, it's more just allowing space to be there and just being aware of the pelvis and its relationship to the front of the hip flexor. Now, relaxing the knee away from the chest a little so it's nice and mellow, nothing intense, and then very gently let that right leg hang out to the side and then rotate it back to the center. So it's not from the foot, this movement. It's not wagging the foot around side to side. It's rotating the thigh bone at the hip socket inwards and outwards and feeling for that happening and seeing how far you can go without forcing. So internal for me, I've not got an awful large amount, but I can feel it and I can feel the muscles working to make it happen. See how it feels for you. Whenever you're ready, gradually and slowly bring that right knee in, hug the knees in one more time, and have a little rock side to side, front to back. And if you want to roll onto your side, you can roll onto your side. And if you want to roll to seated, you could roll through the spine and roll to seated, but take it really nice and steady. From there, we're going to start to work our way round to all fours. From the all fours position, we're just going to do some glides, nice and gently. Exhale as you go back, inhale as you come forwards. Knees hip width, feet hip width, toes hip width. Exhale as you come back, inhale as you come forwards. Change the foot each time. So one time you've got the toes tucked, glide back as you exhale, bring your way forwards, put the top of the foot down and glide your way back as you exhale, feeling your way through, nice and steady. Inhaling as you come forwards, exhaling as you glide backwards. In your own time, starting to walk the feet a little wider now. Put the tops of the feet down, it's just a bit more mellow on the toes, you don't want to be overstretching at the toe. Wide as you can with the knees without forcing, and then just very gently ease your bum back towards your feet. So you take those knees as wide as feels comfortable. So for me, they've come off the mat and that feels all right on my knees. It's not a bit intense, but for you, it might be intense if your knees come off depending on what the floor surface is. So maybe get some cushions or turn your mat sideways. And then just very gently from here, move your way forwards a little, move your way backwards a little, just allowing yourself to stretch very, very gently into the groin. So it's very mellow. very relaxed, just allowing that little bit of glide through a very, very gentle stretch into the groin. Breathing slowly with those exhales. In your own time, slowly, gently, gradually walking those knees back in. Have a little glide through again, just getting those knees nicely aligned. So remember, toes, ankles, knees, hips all in line with each other as you glide. And then whenever you're ready, just slowly bring yourself onto your front. So resting on the front now, you can rest right down if you want to. I'm just staying a bit lifted because of the microphone. So try and keep the back of the neck nice and long. Think about tucking that pelvis position. So exhale, scoop the belly up, keep that strong scoop of the belly, and then see if you could lift your right knee off the floor a little bit. So now we start to get into a bit of work. This is a bit more tricky. So what we're trying to do is use the glute to lift the leg and the abs to keep the lower back long throughout the process. So lower back will work, those muscles are going to kick in, but what we're trying not to do is just use the lower back muscles too much and push the belly into the floor. So we scoop the belly, we keep that grip of the belly, try not to feel the hip pushing into the floor. So the abdominal muscles stop that hip from pushing strongly into the floor, lifting that knee a little bit off the floor. From there, just a little bit of external rotation and a little bit of internal rotation. So same as you're doing on your back, but now there's an awful lot more work, unfortunately, because we're having to use that glute. Engaging those abdominal muscles, keeping that control, feeling your way through your glute muscles, finding them working. Breathing smoothly as it happens. Whenever you're ready, relax the foot down, same thing on the side. So, strong grip through the abs, try and get that peeling of the belly away from the floor, or the sensation that that's about to happen, and then lift that left knee off the floor. Really try and stay controlled through the abs, trying to push that left hip into the floor, or the right hip, but it's most commonly left, and then very gently rotate one way and rotate the other way with that thigh bone. Remember, it's not your foot doing this. So if your foot is just wiggling about, that's not rotation at the thigh bone. Unless you're doing both, which is fine, but just really try and refine it to that thigh bone movement. That's when we're really going to start to feel the work. Keep the abs engaged, try not to push the hips into the floor too much. Really feeling your way into that left glute. Let's go for 3 more. Long exhales. Last one. And rest. Push your way slowly back to your all fours position. Okay, gradually just bring yourself onto your side and get comfortable. So generally you don't want to be on the bony bit of your hip that feels uncomfortable. You want to be either behind, slightly on your glute, or slightly in front. See which feels most comfortable. Personally, behind feels good for me. And we're going to straighten the legs out, straighten the arms out as best we can. So although I can't straighten my arm out, I'm trying to get it in line with the body so that there's not as much support there. If it feels really tricky and you're wobbling all over the place, you can always bend the leg a little bit, bend the arm a little bit just to get a bit more support. But if you can get a straight line, then that automatically tends to bring the abs on as you do it. So as you straighten out, abs kick in, keeping this little bit of lift in between the ribs and the hips. And then what we're going to try and do is exactly what we did on our fronts. We're going to see if we could keep the control of the pelvis and then bring our leg into hip extension. So we slide the leg backwards. So now we're lengthening the front of the hip and we're working the abdominal muscles strongly because the weight of the leg is behind us now. And then we're going to see, could we exhale and lift the leg and bring it back down, but keep it in hip extension. If you need a bit of support, you can put the hand on the floor and then maybe sort of roll slightly forwards instead of slightly backwards, and it makes it less intense on the abs, but you still need to be working them. You have to keep this grip here. We don't want to be sagging down with the spine. And then we come into hip extension, and as you're lifting that leg, you're making sure that you're lifting it from the glute, so you should be feeling it here as opposed to just sagging down here. and just sort of moving it from the lower back. So really try and keep hip extension, ab engagement, and pulse the lift of that leg. Feel the abs engage, feel the work around the outside of the hip. Really nice. Hold at the high point. Slowly rotate the leg outwards. Slowly rotate the leg inwards as far as you can. Keep the pelvis as still as you possibly can by engaging those abdominal muscles. Gently, slowly feeling your way through those rotations of the femur, or the thigh bone, or the leg. Gently, and relax. Give the leg a little bit of a shake out. Come on to the other side whenever you're ready. Take your time. So again, get your side lying position. Either rolling back onto the glute or slightly forwards. Remember, you can use the hand for a bit of support. Control the abdominal muscles. Keep this little bit of lift between the ribs and the hip. And then bring the hip into the leg into hip extension. So this left leg reaches back as far as feels comfortable, keeping the pelvis where it is. So you don't go any further than you're able to keep your pelvis still and keep your lower back long. So abdominal muscles strongly grip, feel your way in, and then lifting that left leg in hip extension. Again, if you want to roll forwards and put your hand down, it makes it a bit easier to assume that position. Just make sure you're not putting yourself in any pain on the hip that you're leaning on. Really nice. And then lift and rotate externally and rotate internally. Nice and steady. Keep that pelvis as still as you can, so you can put the hand on the pelvis. You can feel exactly what's going on. Keep the abs engaged. Feel for the control. Make sure it all feels nice. Really nice. Let's go for 2 more of those. 1 and long, smooth exhales. Remember, keep that breath nice and smooth. Relax when you're ready. We're going to change sides again. So, shifting your way around. Now we're going to go knees bent, feet together, knees together. Straight through the body. And then exhale, all we're going to do is open the knee out, but rather than allowing ourselves to roll backwards, we're keeping the abs engaged, we're keeping this lift here. Externally rotating, bringing the knee back down, internally rotating, lifting the foot. If you want that more tricky, and if it doesn't feel tricky, really check. Am I engaging the abs? Am I as straight as I can be through the spine? Feeling your way into that movement. If it feels like it's still pretty easy, even though you're definitely contracting the core, straighten the bottom leg out and place the foot just on the calf and open out there. So then now, as you're opening out, it's pulling the weight backwards that makes it even easier to roll onto your back. So we're keeping the abs engaged and really using that core to prevent that from happening. Let's go for 4 more. Don't forget the internal rotation like I just did. Take it steady. And relax whenever you're ready. You're going to change sides again. Nice and steady. Bring it round to the other side. So nice, comfortable side laying position. Straight leg if you want it a bit more tricky. Foot either on the top of the bottom foot or on the calf roughly. Try not to rest on it too much. It's just there for reference. And engage the abs. Externally rotate. Internally rotate. Really nice. Let's go for 3 more. Fantastic. Relax whenever you're ready and bring yourself onto your back. So just bring the knees back into the chest one more time. Hold them in. Very gently have a little rock. And then when you're ready, just put your left foot down to the floor. Bring your right knee in as far as it will go without forcing. Take hold of your hamstring, so the back of your thigh. Just put both hands there just to start with, and just very gently bend and straighten that leg. And just feel that hamstring lengthen out. So as you straighten that leg out, those hamstring muscles just lengthen. And it's all got to glide over each other. All those muscles coming down the back of the leg at different angles, they've all got to glide over each other and have that free movement. So just very gently allowing them to lengthen out. And then this hand that's on there, just keep one hand on there and use the other hand to extend the leg. So you can do either hand, whichever feels more comfortable for you. You can have a strap around the foot if you want to, so you get that extra bit of reach, makes it a bit more mellow. You can reach up and take hold of the foot if you can reach the foot, or you could just be on the calf or the shin, and you're just trying to move the leg with the arms as much as you can, and just feeling for this hamstring lengthening out. Just gliding through, and then maybe hold it there when you get there. If you've got mega flexible hamstrings, you might be able to lie right on your back, and you might be able to straighten this bottom leg all the way out, and you feel just a subtle stretch on the hamstrings. Don't force it. If you've got your knee touching your chest and your other leg straight, then you don't need to stretch your hamstrings unless you're a gymnast and you desperately want to get further into hyperextension. But really, all we're looking for is about 90 degrees. So if this leg was straight, we'd be looking for this position, 90 degrees. That's pretty much normal range of movement. So if you be away from that, so say you can't straighten the leg out, you can only get to here, then maybe you just need a little bit longer in this stretch. You could do it afterwards. Changing leg whenever you're ready. Same thing, just glide through. Nice and steady, just straightening that leg out. And remember, if you want to make it a bit more challenging, you straighten that bottom leg out. But don't look for challenging as such in a stretch. Just look for minimal stretch. And just maybe hold it on every now and again, but mostly just gliding, using that hand that's on the muscle to relax it and tell it to be calm. Even talk to the muscle if you want to, inside your head or out loud. Why not? Just very gently lengthening your hamstrings in a calm environment. Whenever you're ready, relax. Rest the foot down and bring yourself to a seated position. So from our seated position, we're going to do Upavista Konasana, so wide leg seated position, and then just seeing if you could take the legs as wide as possible, bend the knees as much as you need to try and sit up nice and straight. So hopefully you'll feel your sit bones on the floor, the bottom of the pelvis, and just see if you can roll backwards and forwards over it. So kind of like we were doing at the beginning with the arch and tuck. Arch in the lower back and round in the lower back. Feel that pelvis move. So you might want to bend the knees to allow that arch to happen. Tall as you can through the spine, gently pushing into the floor. So we push into the floor to feel for what it's like to have the spine in a lengthened position. So if you push into that floor, hopefully it feels like you're pushing yourself up and your spine feels like it's almost decompressing. And then we're seeing if we could, feel free to straighten the legs out if you can, don't feel like you have to. And then if you could take the hands away and stay in that tall upright position, just breathing. Long in the spine, broad across the shoulders. And then gently and slowly we're going to try and rotate to one side, whichever side you prefer. Take it steady. Use the hands again to try and keep the height in the spine. Don't use the hands to pull yourself around into rotation. We don't want to hyperextend anything. We just want to be nice and tall and supported. If you can take the hands away, you could take the hands away. You could put the hands to the sternum, palms together. And then slowly and gently bring it back to the center. Same thing other side, tall as you can through the spine. Remember, balancing out effort and lack of effort. Never forcing, just breathing, noticing how the breath is. Gradually, slowly bringing it back to the center when you're ready, and bringing yourself slowly and gradually onto your back. Placing your feet together, letting your knees hang out to the sides. And now you can use your hands and your fingertips and your wrist. You sort of wedge your wrist and your fingertips between your thigh and the floor. So if you can wedge the hands there just to support the legs, it's just a little bit more mellow. If it feels fine to be hanging there, then that's fine. Just make sure you feel comfortable into the joint. And you can always put cushions under your legs if you want to. And then from here, we're going to do the arch and tuck again. So inhale, gently allow that lower back to arch. So pelvis tilts forwards. And then exhale, tuck the lower back towards the floor. Inhale, gently arch. Exhale, gently tuck. Feeling your way through. Noticing how it feels at the hip, how things are changing, how the stretch is changing. Whenever you're ready, gradually, slowly, see if you can take it really steady. Use the inner thigh muscles to pull those knees back up to the center, gradually, gradually, gradually. Walk the feet out as wide as you can without forcing, and just make sure that your heels are the widest thing. So this is not ideal because it's encouraging the knee to drop inwards. So turn the toes as far in as you can, and that will encourage those knees to rest against each other. And you've got gentle internal rotation at the hip. Make sure it is gentle, make sure there's zero strain on the knee. Just feel your way into that position. And again, inhale, gently arch the lower back. Exhale, gently tuck. Feel how it changes the position. So we're moving the pelvis, which is moving the hips, which is moving in relation to the thigh bones, which is staying still and in a slightly internally rotated position. Never forcing. Zero pain in the joints. Readjusting until there is zero pain. Just being with it for 4 more breaths. Long exhale. Nice deep inhale. Long smooth exhale. Nice deep inhale. 2 more breaths. And last one. In your own time, gradually and slowly starting to straighten the legs out. Relax the feet out to the sides, relax the arms out to the sides. And if you, as always, if your lower back is in any discomfort, you can bend the knees, rest the feet on the floor. You could rest your legs on something like a bed or a sofa, or you could put a load of pillows behind the backs of your legs just to take the compression out of the lower back, so you allow the pelvis to tilt backwards, which lengthens that lower back and makes it hopefully feel nice and decompressed. From here, we're just going to gently breathe and notice. Notice the ribs move, notice the diaphragm move. Just having a scan through your body, noticing how things are feeling. That gentle, smooth breath, lapping in and out like some waves on a calm beach. Just being with each moment, experiencing without judging. Noticing the body move as you breathe. Just bringing your attention not only to the breath, but maybe visualizing, or you might even feel that your heart is beating and pumping blood around your body. Each inhale, oxygenating that blood, and each exhale, letting go of anything that is not required from that blood. Very gradually, very slowly, starting to have a little move through the body in a way that feels nice for you. If you want to rub the face, wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers, stretch out, roll around, curl up in a ball, whatever it is, just experiencing some nice gentle movement. Maybe keeping the eyes closed if you feel comfortable to, as you start to work your way back up gradually to any comfortable seated position, sitting up nice and tall. Letting the chin come towards the chest, taking a big, slow, deep inhale. Gradually opening the eyes, and as you start to get to the top of that breath, gradually starting to lift the head up. And a big exhale. Letting go. And we'll finish there. Thanks very much. Have a lovely day, night, morning, whatever it is. Take care. Thanks.